Welcome, GCSC Technology Integration YouTubers. In today's video from the In 10 Minutes or Less series, I'm going to show you how to start and organize G Suite documents from within your Google Drive. Finding and organizing files within Google Drive is often one of the frustrating points for people as they start using the G Suite applications. It can be very difficult to find files that have been created if they're not properly organized. And this ends up being a limiting factor for those who are trying to navigate to the Google applications. So I would like to take some time to explain these operations to you. You may be aware that there are a number of ways you can start any of the G Suite applications. And while that is very convenient, I also think that is a factor that contributes to people not being able to find their documents once they have been created. So if I am in any one of the Google applications that has the 9-square grid, also known as the waffle, I can click that grid and I can see all the apps that are available to me. And if I want to start a word processing document, I can click on Docs. And if I want to start a spreadsheet, I can click on Sheets. And if I want to start a presentation, I can click on Slides. And last but not least, if I want to start a form, I can click on Forms. And clicking any one of those will take me to the specific location for that app. So a lot of times people will think if I want to create a word processing document, I can click on Docs, and I can certainly do that. And if I click on Docs, it would take me to this site, which is docs.google.com, which alternatively you could also just type in your browser, so there's yet another way in which you could create this. And I will see here any documents that I have already created, and I will also see the templates for new documents. And that's fantastic, and a lot of people will jump right here and create their document, and I'm going to walk you through that process in just a minute. Alternatively, you can also start any of the G Suite applications from your Google Drive. And you can navigate to your Google Drive, again, any one of the Google products that has the 9-square grid, you can click on Drive and it will take you there, or you can type drive.google.com. While I think that Google Drive is the best way to start and keep your files organized, I do think it's important that we understand all the processes. So if you have created files in another way in the past, you are familiar with how to change that process and end up with very similar results. So if I go back over to Google Docs and I need to create a file here, I can create a file by clicking on a template, or I can start from a blank document. So let's say that I need to create an APA report for my English class if I'm a student. I can click right there, and the template for the APA paper is already started. And it gives it a name called report, so I'm just going to change that slightly and call it report for ELA class. And again, if I were a student, I could click down here and I could type whatever I need to type, and that's fine, and that's very convenient. And in the other videos in my In 10 Minutes or Less series, specifically the one on Google Docs, I talk about how it's very different from tools we have used in the past, such as those of us who grew up using Microsoft Word, where you go to File and then you go to Save. There is no option to save on Google Docs. So I can just exit out of this, and that file is now gone. It's saved, but it is not visible to me. And a lot of times people who are new to the G Suite struggle to find that document again. So again, going back to my calendar, if I click the 9-square grid, I can go to Docs and it will show me the document that I just created. It will show, in fact, any document that I've created, and right now it's showing them in the order they were created. So there's the report for ELA class. So I can open that document and I can edit that. And that's a perfectly fine way to do that if that's the way that your brain thinks and you just want to create something and you know that it's going to be here, and you could also search for it right here by using Google's great search tools. And that's wonderful for those people who enjoy doing things that way. However, a lot of times people create documents and they want them to be really organized in folders and in subfolders and things like that. So if I hop over to my Google Drive, I can see here that any file that I create, whether it is from the G Suite applications or whether it's something I've uploaded, is found in my Google Drive. So the report for ELA class, notice, is right here. It's what's called an uncategorized file. It is just down here loose amongst all the files that I have created. Now you will see that I have a lot of folders up here. And if I want to organize the file that I just created, I can do that a couple of different ways once I'm within Drive. I could grab this and I could move it up here, and I create a folder called Starting in Google. I could drop that right there. I could drag and drop. That's a super convenient way for me to move that file. Or I could right click on this file and I could go Move To, and then it will give me all the options in my Google Drive. And so I would find the Google example folder starting in Google right here, and I can click right there, and I can click Move here, and I will get a warning saying that if I've shared it previously, moving it to a folder could cause that to change depending on the settings that I have for that particular folder. Again, having uncategorized files in your Google Drive may not bother you. It may not matter to you if there are hundreds or even thousands of files here, if you can just search for them and you can locate them. And that's wonderful for many people. However, many other people also want to create items in folders. And that's what I want to show you how to do in this portion of the video. So I have that starting in Google example folder right here. And if I double click on that, I will of course see my report for ELA class. But now I can create a file within this folder, and I will know exactly where it is stored every time because it's going to be located in my drive in the starting in Google folder. So I can click new here, and then I can choose the type of file that I want to create. Do I want to create a document or a spreadsheet or a presentation? Or I can go to more, I can go to forms, and I've not gotten into some of the options that are shown there below, but I can choose any of those options. So if I wanted to create a Google document here, let's say I want to create another APA report for another class, I have the option here to click the arrow and I can go a blank document, in which case it'll of course just start a blank document, or I can go to from a template right here. It will give me the warning, do I wish to create this in a shared folder if the folder is shared, and that's not a big deal. I can just click create and share. And from here, I will see a slightly different version of the template gallery. But again, let's say I want that APA report. I'm just going to click on APA report right there. And I can call this report for science. Let's call this report for science. And again, I could click down here and make any changes with the document that needed to be made for my report for my class. And again, I could just exit out of that. And now I can find that two places. I can find that I could go back to Google Docs and I would now see that that file is there. I may need to hit refresh in order for that to show up, but that is obviously a document that I have created. So by hitting refresh, it does show up there in my Google Documents. Or I can go to Google Drive and I can then see that it is there. So if I go to my drive, I'm not going to see this file. It's not going to be an uncategorized file down here at the bottom. Instead, it's going to be in the folder where I created it. So in this case, it's in the starting with Google folder, and I can see there's my report for ELA class and there's my report for science class, and they have both been created in different ways, but they arrived in the same location. So in the end, it does not really matter if you create yours through Docs or if you create yours through Drive. It does matter in the way that you organize them and how you prefer that. If you're okay with just creating a document and knowing that you can search for it, you can create them through Docs and never organize your files into folders. If you're a person who prefers to have things organized in folders and subfolders, then you probably are going to want to create yours through Drive, having the folder pre-selected and choosing the folder that you want. So again, my starting in Google, having this folder pre-selected and then starting your new document from there. Hopefully that clears up some misconceptions about Google Drive and the G Suite applications and how to create files and how to locate them after you have created them. If you have any questions, please let me know.